Thanks so much. We're here at Fairyland Village. What can you tell us about the place?
Well, the origins of the property was owned by an early settler, Herman Miller. He was a little bit of a hermit and a bit of a character around town. He was also a bit of a recluse. He lived in a shack down at the bottom where the old toilet block now stands. He owned a horse which only had one eye, so it's known as the one-eyed horse. And he fossicked for gold around the place and dug a few shafts or a few pits around the property that have long since been filled in. His horse eventually died, and I heard a story that, I don't know whether it's right or wrong.
We love a story.
He dug a pit to put the horse in, didn't dig it deep enough and pushed the horse in, and the legs were still sticking out of the ground, so he just put an old door on the top of it to use as a table.
Oh God, no.
So, sounds rather bizarre, but there you go.
Why not? Yeah.
Hello, my name's Elsie. When my cousin Frances came to stay with me, I told her about the fairies that played in the woods near our house. Mother and Father had never believed me about the fairies, so Frances suggested we borrow Father's camera and take some photographs.
Then the park was sold to the Kosches, who came from Altenburg, Germany, and wanted to set up a little fairy tale village like they'd seen in their hometown, which they did. They worked up here for quite a few years while they lived in Adelaide, built the little buildings for the park, and eventually built their house here as well and moved here. They opened the park in 1974. So the park is coming up to its 40th year this
That long.
Christmas time.
40 years.
Yeah. We didn't at first. We walked away from it. The agent came back to us and said that the owner got to the point where he was going to just break it up and sell it off as just land, and we thought that would be a shame because of its history. So we sold up our house and bought the place. Closed for a year while we cleaned the place up because it was that bad, and then. Since then we've opened and gradually been increasing and working on the displays ever since.
You said that there might be some stories of hauntings here. What are some of those stories?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm, if anything, I'm a scientific mind.
So am I.
Totally against,
Yeah.
things like religion and the
Yeah.
paranormal and all
Yeah.
of those things.
Yeah.
But I was working here one evening, and I walked up the walkway there, and when you just see somebody at the corner of your eye, and I turned quickly, and I can still picture somebody standing there in like bib and brace overalls.
Like colonial dress sort of
Not
thing?
really,
Not really?
no, it was just more bib and brace overalls. That's all I remember really, bib and brace overalls,
Yeah.
and it was gone.
Yeah.
And there was nobody, I mean, the park was closed, so that sort of freaked me a little bit. And I've had my son's partner also thought that she'd seen somebody when she was walking up the drive. and she commented on it without me saying anything. And I also had another person say that they had a feeling that there was a presence here. So a little bit bizarre, but I don't know whether that's just the nature of the place or your imagination or what, but it's interesting.
I think I'm pretty brave coming here. I've always had a thing about dolls and clowns, so I'm going to be totally freaked out being around big giant dollies anyway, so yeah.
A lot of it's, I think, it's to do with your mind. And
yeah.
You know, I mean, if you go back to being a kid, you know, like when, I think parents forget too that when children come through here, it's, to them it's real, you know.
Absolutely.
And, we look at it and we say, oh, it's a display, you know, walk on. But
Hold
to
on.
kids, they think it's perfect. You know.
You're not saying fairies aren't real, are you?
No, I'm talking
Absolutely,
about
children.
I'm talking about the displays.
The
like
displays.
The displays of fairy stories.
Yes.
And they're displays of fairy stories. But well, we've had a couple of times when children have come and looked in the first display and they don't want to go near, they don't want to go in. You know, it's not that common, but occasionally, because to them, as I say, it's real.
I tell you what, I'm going to go and have a look around and get some vision, and if I see a fairy, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Thank you so much for talking to me today.
That's okay. All right.
I got no strings to hold me down, to make me fret or make me frown. I had strings, but now I'm free. There are no strings on me. Hi ho, the merry-o, that's the only way to go. I want the world to know nothing ever worries me. I got no strings, so I have fun. I'm not tied up to anyone. They got strings, but you can see.
What do you think about... Are there fairies here? Hi, how are ya? So, what's it like being a cookie?